Hello, and welcome to today's webinar, Finding an Internship or Co-op. My name is Anna Clara Blesso. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I am the Associate Director for Career Coaching and Experiential Learning at the UConn Center for Career Development. I'm really excited you're here with us today. Let's get started. I'd like to go over a couple of items so you know how to participate in today's webinar. You should see your attendee interface on your computer desktop in the upper right-hand corner. You're listening in using your computer speaker system by default. If you would prefer to join over the phone, just select telephone in the audio pane and the dial-in information will be displayed for you. You will have the opportunity to submit text questions by typing your questions into the questions pane of the control panel. You may send in your questions at any time during this presentation. Since this is a previously recorded webinar, these questions will be emailed to me and answered within 3 business days. We'll definitely get back to you. Note that a recording of today's webinar will also be emailed to all webinar registrants within 24 hours, so you'll definitely have access to it after the fact as well. Today I'll be reviewing the main differences between an internship and a co-op, how to start searching for opportunities, how to tailor your application materials, and next steps in the searching process. All right, so let's go through an internship and co-op overview. You may be wondering the difference between an internship and a co-op. Odds are you've heard of an internship, you may have heard of a co-op, and you should definitely be aware of all of your options and identify which one you are primarily interested in. An internship can be done at any point during the year, usually during the semester or summer. Hours vary from full-time to part-time. It might be paid or unpaid, and students might opt to receive academic credit for it or not. If you're interested in earning credit for an internship, you should look into credit options on our website at career.uconn.edu. During an internship, especially if it's during the academic year, students' main focus is on classwork. An internship allows for short-term participation in day-to-day functions of an organization. It really allows you to get a snapshot of what it's like to work there on a short-term basis. But a co-op, on the other hand, is a 4 to 6 month full-time experience during the semester. It's always paid, and students do not earn credit for the experience itself. It allows students to take a semester to focus on full-time employment while being considered a full-time student by the university. Students may take up to 6 additional credits per semester while on co-op. And while an internship is kind of a short-term participation in day-to-day functions, a co-op allows for full immersion in an organization's day-to-day function for a longer period of time. If you know of anybody who's in the School of Engineering, perhaps an accounting major, those are really popular majors for co-op. And so you may have some friends that have already participated in an experience like that. So one thing to think about is why you're seeking an internship or co-op. It could be maybe you're thinking about gaining experience, building your resume, earning money, earning academic credit, networking, or trying out an industry, a profession, or a company. Now think for a moment, do your reasons match an employer's reasons for hiring you? Do you think this is important to know? So a couple things to keep in mind. Both internships and co-ops are pipelines into company hiring. An employer can't typically guarantee full-time employment after your internship or co-op experience ends, but it's definitely a way to build your network and increase your chances of getting hired eventually. Employers tell us all the time they're looking for students that have previous experience, and internships and co-ops are a great way to gain that experience. But employers have many reasons for hiring students in the first place. It's important to try and understand why employers are seeking an intern or a co-op student, since their motivations may differ from yours. If you know an employer's motivations, you can then tailor your application materials, which we'll talk about in just a little bit, to their motivations, and you can set yourself apart from other candidates. So why do you think employers hire interns? Well, it differs. Large organizations are looking to hire interns and co-op students as a way to recruit future full-time employees, and this can reduce their recruiting time and their cost. The internship or co-op serves as a try-on period for both the employer and the employee. Employers know the employee will be a good fit. The employee knows that they enjoy working there and they may stay at the organization longer. Interns and co-op students also reduce the organization's labor cost because the organization doesn't provide benefits or have the same liabilities as with full-time employees. But smaller and nonprofit organizations are looking to hire interns and co-op students as a way to compete with large organizations. Interns and co-op students add more people to the organization for a lower cost, thereby increasing their productivity. These organizations enjoy fresh enthusiasm and perspectives, and often interns and co-op students bring these with them. Internships and co-ops are a great way for these organizations to introduce students to new industries and jobs that students might not have been previously aware of. You'll notice that these employer motivations are very different than students' motivations. Recognizing this is important so you can effectively market yourself in cover letters, at career fairs, interviews, and networking events. For example, many students emphasize how an internship or co-op will be a great opportunity for them to get to know and experience. But if you know that an employer wants to hire an intern or co-op student that's excited to learn more about the organization or industry, you can emphasize that in your cover letter instead. So you'll want to be really thoughtful with your application materials and make sure you're speaking to those employer motivations. So the road to success, what does that actually look like? During your internship search, you'll be following 3 parallel roads. One way to find an internship is networking. Networking involves the art of connecting with others, give and take, helping one another, using communication skills, and being likable. The majority of jobs and internships, they're not posted online. Rather, they're found through referrals, connections, and networking. Sincere and genuine connection with alumni, professional organizations, and potential employers can be one avenue to finding an opportunity. Think about if you were searching for a roommate. You likely would want a room with someone that you either know or that a colleague or friend of yours knows. Same with internships. You're more likely to get hired if people know you. Another way to find an internship or co-op is by searching. Simultaneously to finding opportunities, you'll also want to be working on preparing materials. This presentation will cover the searching and preparing materials paths. If you want to talk more about how to use networking in your search, I recommend meeting with a career coach at the Center for Career Development. You can schedule an appointment anytime by going to career.uconn.edu. Searching for opportunities. So remember, we have 3 roads that we'll be traveling down at the same time. We're going to talk about the searching road. You can begin your search by looking for opportunities on national search engines. You've probably heard of Indeed, for example, and then by searching on company websites as well. You can also apply to positions posted in Husky Career Link powered by Handshake. These organizations are specifically looking to hire UConn students. So attending a career fair is a great way to talk with an employer about available positions. We have career fairs every fall and spring semester, and an internship and co-op fair that takes place every February. And lastly, if you're not finding posted positions that match your interests and your goals, you can always approach organizations to share your interest or to create your own experience. Employers might really be open to having an intern if you showcase genuine and authentic interest in their work. In Husky Career Link, powered by Handshake, under the Jobs tab at the top, there's a job search filter. You can filter by internships or co-ops, as well as other keywords like a title, a major, or even a location. Intern co-op .uconn.edu has many resources that can help you with your internship and co-op search. These include general resources, the Internship and Co-op Guide, which has more information to guide you through your search and preparing for a new experience, Positions featured on Husky Career Link, information on how to earn credit for your internship, on-campus internship information, ways to find off-campus opportunities, and more. It's important to be savvy with the information available online. For example, you should Google yourself and make sure the results are something you will be okay with an employer seeing. Online resources are really, really important. Through the off-campus opportunities section, you can link to lists of national and industry or niche-specific search engines to help you refine your search. The National Search Engine List compiles national job search sites specific to internships and co-ops. You can see the list here, similar to internships.com. The industry or niche specific list compiles job search sites focused on a particular career field, like HR jobs for human resources or Idealist for nonprofits. I recommend finding 3 to 4 search tools that you like to utilize in your search and using a combination of both general and industry-specific search tools. For a student interested in the nonprofit sector, for example, I might recommend using Husky Career Link for UConn-specific postings, Indeed for a more general and broad search, and Idealist for a specific tailored search engine. So let's talk a little bit about application materials. And again, we're traveling back to the three roads you'll be going down at the same time. Let's talk about preparing materials. The application materials you'll need, they vary by industry and company. The most common items include a resume, a cover letter, references or letters of recommendation. Remember that those are separate things. References typically refers to a list of references, while letters of recommendation are letters on your behalf that are written by individual people. Sometimes companies will ask you for transcripts, writing samples, and sometimes, depending on your field, they'll ask you for a portfolio sample of your work. Each document you submit to an employer should feel as if it was created just for them. And remember, it should definitely be error-free. Most recently, I was actually hiring for an intern. This was this past academic year. And I came across a student's resume that looked so great. And I really wanted to interview them. But unfortunately, they spelled Connecticut wrong on their resume. And so it said University of, and I think they meant to put Connecticut, but it was totally misspelled. And in good conscience, I didn't feel like I could even interview this student. Now, they may have been a fantastic intern, but they showed me they didn't really care that much because they didn't proofread their items. And if you can't spell a basic thing right, then I can't in good conscience hire you to do anything else. So making sure that it's error-free and looks really polished is going to be really important. You can always schedule a time for a career coach here at the Center for Career Development to review your materials. We're always happy to do that. So you'll want to refer to internship and co-op postings in your desired industries, companies, and professions just to get a sense of what materials you should prepare. For example, we talked about how some companies and industries are going to require a portfolio, but that's definitely not all of them. Click through the duties of a job itself. Consider whether or not it matches your skill set and your interests. This is really important. You'll also want to check the requirements. Make sure you showcase those skills and experiences in your application materials. Note that this internship wants interns to be receiving academic credit. However, only the university can award credit through one of our 70+ internship courses. So that's something to research further. You'll want to look for other materials requested. Here you'll see that they're looking for a writing sample and the answers to 2 of 4 questions that you could pick from. When emailing your application, make sure your email is professional and that it is sent from a UConn account or another professional email address. Now is not the time to be using toocoolforschool@hotmail.com. You'll want to be sure to follow all instructions when applying for a position. Failure to do so may result in you not being considered at all. And one last note related to a professional email account, please, please, please make sure that you have a professional voicemail box set up as well. I've called students before and I've gotten where they haven't set up their voicemail, so I can't leave them a message. An employer, odds are, is not going to call back. They're going to move on to the next candidate. And you'll want to be sure that you sound professional in your voicemail greeting as well. That can sometimes be your first impression. So, Jonathan Husky, in this example here, is applying to the 5WPR internship we just looked at. He has two versions of his resume, each with the same experiences, but formatted a little bit differently. Take a look at both resumes. Which one should Jonathan Husky submit to have the best chance at getting an interview? So take a moment to review those that you find on your screen there. Now that you've had a moment to look at the two resumes, we're going to go over why we think resume B is best tailored for this internship position. And that's the second one. So a couple things to note. Resume B has a tailored objective statement. That will make it feel like this resume was created just for this internship position. Remember, every company wants to feel like they are your absolute top choice. Now, B also has added relevant coursework. Again, this is a really easy way to tailor your resume and make it feel like it was created just for this experience. In B, the experience category to highlight the experience is categorized to highlight most relevant experience to the position, rather than just being one section like resume A. So for example, the public relations experience has more in-depth bullet point statements, and it's really easy for an employer to spot that really quickly. The experience in the leadership section has an added bullet point statement that will allow students to elaborate a little bit more on that experience. And the work section is condensed just to list the experience. This shows Jonathan's work ethic without using up a lot of space on bullet point statements that might not be necessary. And the campus activities and volunteer section is also condensed. And one thing to keep in mind is that this student added a computer skills section. Now you'll want to remember that your resume is a great place to demonstrate competencies and skills like technology, teamwork, and others. Your resume should feature skills and details that relate to the position specifically and the employer. Come to the Center for Career Development for a resume critique, even if you aren't applying to positions just yet. So following up. You can consider following up with an organization about 2 weeks after applying. Again, with typos, following up communication, it should be professional and it should be error-free. When you follow up, you should be following up to ensure that the organization received your materials and potentially to ask about their hiring timeline. You should not ask about the status of your specific application at this time. You'll want to continue applying until you have a formal offer. But once you have accepted a formal offer, decline all others. You don't want to keep interviewing at that point. You'll want to update your references and connections, letting them know where you'll be interviewing and interning or working. This is a great way to keep that connection going. And you'll want to evaluate the company and make sure it's a good fit for you. Be sure to set goals for yourself and prepare for your first day to start off really strong. So, some next steps that we can go over. Staying organized. I know, finding an internship can take time. Keeping a document or spreadsheet detailing each position, payment, application deadline, requirements, correspondence, or follow up with the company, and any other pertinent information you want to keep track of. Save the job posting and description for each position. They're often removed later, and you will need it to prepare for an interview that you might be offered. A screenshot will definitely work here. And you'll want to consider logistical concerns, such as transportation, wardrobe, relocation costs, and how this might balance with the salary and credit options. You can see an example here of how one student is staying organized. They have the company name, the location, credit, application materials. They are keeping any networking notes and then any deadlines as well. I definitely recommend doing this. And remember that an internship or co-op, it's not the only way to gain experience. UConn has many other opportunities to help you gain experience and build your resume, many of which are just as valuable to an employer. The Office of Undergraduate Research, for example, has resources to help you get involved in research. They're really fantastic. Community outreach has one-time and regular service programs in the community. Student employment posts jobs and internships on campus. The Benton, that's the art museum on campus. If you're looking to work in a museum, that's a great place to start. Greenhouse Studios has interdisciplinary, collaborative research teams assembled around an external inquiry prompt. They do some really cool work. Alternative breaks are trips that are focused on learning about and serving the community around a particular need. Some of those even include travel around the country and abroad. Residential Life will often hire RAs to work on campus. Orientation hires orientation leaders. Four Arrows provides experiential learning activities centered on promoting professional development, particularly in terms of leadership. And student activities is where you can get involved in clubs and activities. And these are just a few of the samples of ways that you can get involved on campus. And all of these can make great interview stories for interviewing for an internship, a co-op, or even a full-time job come graduation. So some next steps. After this webinar, you can continue your search by meeting with a career coach at the Center for Career Development to discuss your internship or co-op needs, scheduling an appointment for a resume or cover letter critique. It's always nice to have another set of eyes take a look at your documents, searching and applying for positions using Husky Career Link powered by Handshake and other search tools, attending the next career fair, and you will see a list on the Center for Career Development website of the upcoming fairs, and then visiting interncoop.uconn.edu for more opportunities and up-to-date information. You can also visit CCD On Demand at ccdondemand.uconn.edu to watch short videos to help you with your search. There's an entire section devoted to internships and co-ops, as well as other sections to help you prepare application materials and for interviews. These are available 24 hours a day. They've been recorded by our staff, so you know they're accurate and they're super helpful. So I would definitely check out CCD On Demand as well. And as a reminder, you can still submit questions through the pane in your attendee control panel. These questions will be emailed to me and they'll be answered within 3 business days. Thanks so much for attending today's webinar, Finding an Internship or Co-op. Once you leave today's webinar, you will be directed to an evaluation for the presentation. And we would appreciate it if you would complete that and provide your feedback. You will also receive a follow-up email within 24 hours with a link to view a recording of today's webinar. Thanks for joining us today. Have a great rest of your day.